All right, the high priest had special garments. And this Torah portion is talking about the garments. And we mentioned them briefly last time, but let's go more into detail, especially into one of the most amazing garments that there was, and that is the breastplate called the Choshen HaMishpat. So let's have a look. Ela Begadim, these are the garments. Asher Yasu, that you should make. And like we said the last time that we spoke about this, that these garments came to fix up the garments that Adam made to cover over his nakedness after he ate from the tree. And basically the garments came to cover over his egotism that Adam made. And these are coming to fix up these garments, because this is service of the creator of the universe. That was the purpose of these garments. Just one moment, please. All right. So these are the garments that you should make for the Kohen, called a Choshen, an Efod, a Me'il, Ketonet Tashbetz, Mitznefet, Avneit. That's what you're supposed to make. Now, what are these garments? Let's have a look at this. Choshen, Efod, Me'il, Ketonet Tashbetz, Mitznefes, V'Avneit. We went over this briefly, but let's go over it one more time. Just have a little look at these garments. Here we go. Here we go. The Kohen. This is the mitznefes. This is the hat that was made for the Kohen. Here you can see, here's the hat. There was the Choshen. The Choshen was a garment that was made from wool, but it had gold inlays, and there were precious stones on it. And these precious stones had the names of each one of the tribes written on it, in addition to things also, but the main thing, the names of the tribes: Reuven, Shimon, Levi, etc. Those are the tribes. Then there was the Avneit. The Avneit was a long, some say it was 16 amos long. I just read yesterday, some say it was 32 amos long. An amma is about 1.5 feet, something like that. So, and he wrapped this around it. Then there was a thing called an Efod. This Efod was tied around the back. You can see it had, and we'll talk about this more. There were, especially here, we can see the Efod like this. That's what the Efod looked like. And it was tied around the back. This is called the Cheshav Efod. Here on the corner of this Efod, see there were two stones, precious stones, that were here also. That's called Avnei Shoham. And they also had the names of the 6 tribes, the 12 tribes, 6 on this one, 6 over here, 6 tribes, 12 tribes altogether. Here on his forehead was something that was not mentioned in the list. That was called the Tzitz. The Tzitz had God's name on it. And not like in this picture, in fact, the Tzitz had a space between it and the mitznefet, the hat, so he could put his tefillin on. He could wear tefillin. Interestingly, the Kohen did not wear tzitzit. He did not have a talit when he was in. This is the only garments he could have. Under the ephod means it was sort of like an apron, but it was open in the front. An apron usually covers over the front and is open in the back, but this was open in the front. Under that was the garment called the ephod. Under the ephod was the me'il. A me'il. Let's see, was the me'il? We have the picture of the me'il over here. The me'il there. And underneath that was the ketonet. That was here also. The ketonet tashbetz, it was called, the ketonet that was made, especially made. And this was held close to his chest by chains. There were 4 chains that were here, that were held. So now we can sort of understand what's going on. Also, we had pants that he wore underneath pants, but they did not have shoes. The Kohanim did not have shoes. It was a commandment that their feet had to be touching the floor of the Holy Temple all the time. Okay, so that's a sort of an overview of what was going on over here. Now, this garment, which I hope we'll learn today, this garment is really folded. Folded. Do we have a picture? Is there a picture? There must be a picture somewhere here. A picture of the folding. See, this is a picture of the Choshen Mishpat, and it folded. Here's all sorts of different pictures. Here, the pictures are much more accurate than the ones of the tabernacle, which that was really the fruit of a lot of people's imagination. But here we have let's see, do we have a picture of it? You see with the apron, the 3 or 4 garments. That's a picture over here. All right, we don't have the picture. In any case, this folded, the back part of this garment, it folded open. It folded open, so it was really twice as big. And in between was put a parchment with a name of God on it that made this thing work. The letters would light up so that people would know. I've seen different opinions about exactly what the Urim and the Tumim, what it would tell. The Urim, and this is the Choshen. Inside was put the Urim and the Tumim. We'll see what Rashi has to say about it. But strangely enough, there's not a picture. I've seen other places where there was a picture of the folding breastplate. See, here's the breastplate, but so it's supposed to fold open. All right. Do we have a picture? Not really, not really. Have a lot of other pictures, but not that picture. All right. Okay, what can we do? Here, this is again the breastplate. Well, no, we don't have it. It's not here. All right, you'll have to take my word for it. Anyway, this breastplate folded open from the bottom. It was attached here, but the other 3 sides weren't attached, so it folded open. Okay. Let's go back to the text. These are the garments that you should make. Choshen, Efod. That was that apron that we said. Ha'me'il, the garment that covered his body, the katonet, which was under that, covered. The me'il was made of blue. A katonet tashbetz, there was the mitznavet, that was his hat. Tavneit, that was the belt. You should make these holy garments. Ready? Let's go. They should make, first of all, let's make this Efod. This Efod. What was the Efod? That was this apron that we talked about. It was made from gold, blue wool, argaman, sort of purple colored wool, tolat shani, like red colored wool, v'sheish mazor, and woven linen, Maaseh Choshev, the work of a, just give me one moment, the work of a weaver, the weaver. Okay, and the Rashi explains what it is, but it's very lengthy, and he's just explaining what I said. Steak seifot, there should be 2 shoulder straps, chovrot, the join should be al shtei katzotov, on its 2 sides, the chubar, and you should to join them. But in which to attach them. The cheshev afurato, and there should be another 2 straps, alav kamaseu, just like the upper ones, zahav v'techilat v'argamon, Patolat sheni b'sheish mazor. V'lakachto, you have to take the two avnei shoham, and you should carve on them the names of the Jewish people. Now, this is what I told you before, so let's just go and look at it one more time so that we don't get confused about what we're talking about. Here we go. This is the Efod. This is what we're talking about here. And the Efod, it had straps that attached it. Do we have the picture of these straps? Yes, we should. And we did have a picture. We had a picture. It's a pretty accurate picture we had before, just so that we see. Here, this. Here, here we have a picture of the Urim and the Choshen Mishpat. See that it's folded over. Okay, here according to what he says, it was the bottom was attached, not the. Here, there was the straps here and there were straps here. Those were the Cheshav Avurato. Those are the straps. That held this Choshen, that the Efod. So unfortunately, made it the same color, so we can't see it. This was the Efod. Sometimes they make it a different color so that it sticks out a little bit more. Where is this? Here, here like this. Already made this, see? But there was even a better picture than this, and that was that it showed all the straps that were involved over here. I have a very good book that. Here, this is it here. See, this is really the back. Looking at it from the back, it was attached like this. Here we go. You have the two straps, the one here, and two straps, the one here. That was for the Efod. And you tied it around in the front. That's how the Efod looked. And these were things were called the Cheshav Efod. Let's go back to our picture, to our text rather. Then you have to put these two avnei shoham. This is in the shoulders, and you carve on them the names of the Jewish people, the names of the tribes, and that's what it means. Bnei Yisrael. In this case, it means not the Jewish people. Bnei Yisrael means the sons of Yisrael, the sons of Jacob. You have to carve on them. 6 names, sheish mishmotam. 6 of the names are in one stone, and 6 of them are the other stone. On the Evan Hasheni Katoldotam, in the order that they were born. Rashi says, Kaseder Shenoldu, Reuven, Shimon, Levi, Yehuda, Dan, and Naphtali. They're on one stone. And the second one was Gad, Asher, Yisachar, Zvulun, and Yosef, and Benjamin on the other one. Shekain Hu Kateh, this is the order of the altogether there was 25 letters on each and every stone. So there's 25 letters on one, and letters on the other. If you count them, you can count them. So for instance, Reuven, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, and Naphtali is 25. And so it is on the other one. You have to write Benjamin, they'll filled up. Then explaining the secrets of this, what's going on behind this, what's the deep, because this is a very deeply mystical thing. You have to remember the high priest went into the Holy of Holies once a year. When he went into the Holy of Holies, he wasn't wearing these garments. When he went into the Holy of Holies on Yom Kippur, he was wearing just simple white garments. Big day, Michtase Bad, he wore simple white garments. Only when he came out was he wearing these garments. Maisach Rash Oven, these have to be carved in to the stone, Pituchei Chosam, that they were they were carved in to the order that they were born. They were carved in. Here says Charash Evan means it had to be. Rashi says, let's get this picture again. There we go. It had to be made of an expert stone maker. Because it had to be stuck, it had to also be stuck into the place where it was, into the setting where it was set. Therefore, it had to be surrounded. The stones had to be surrounded by you had to be carved in such a way that there was a space around the outside of the names. You should put these two names, or these two stones, on the shoulders of this Efod to remind the Jewish people, and Aaron should take their names in front of God on his two shoulders to remember. Now, where would he take them? Here, look, that the God would see the names of these when Moses would go into what's called the holy, the tent of meeting, and he would remember the righteousness of the fathers. Okay, now we're talking about making the breastplate. You have to make mishbatzot zahav. There had to be made frames, little frames of gold. At least two. And there should be two chains of gold, mugbalot, that are woven. There should be, you put those on the mishpatzot. They should be attached to the mishpatzot. Okay, here you have to have a little it's a little bit difficult to explain what this is, but this is talking about, I don't know if we can get a good picture of this. Here, here's talking about the breastplate. And the breastplate is held by these chains. And that's what he says. You should make this Choshen mishpat, this breastplate, and it should be made by an expert. Kamaese Efod, just like the apron that we just talked about, made from gold and silver, and I'm sorry, gold and three types of wool. Techelet, v'argoman, v'tolat sheni. The three types of wool dyed different colors. Vishesh mazor, and also with linen, woven linen, it should be made. Now, again, what are we talking about? Rashi. And this Choshen Mishpat, why was it called the Choshen Mishpat? This would bring forgiveness for the false judgments that were made. So Choshen Mishpat, it would correct any false judgments that were made by judges in Israel. Another explanation, Mishpat, what does it mean? It would clarify everything, and it would make everything clear. Like it says, people would go into the Holy Temple, they would ask the Kohen, the high priest, questions, and there are all sorts of laws involved in this. Some say it has to be only important people, and it has to be very simple one-word answers or simple answers. That's why it's called mishpat. They said, the Rebbe says mishpat, the word mishpat means three things. It means mishpat means three things. It means the claims of the two litigants. That's called mishpat. It's also the decision, which is called mishpat. He puts down the law, and also onish adin, and also the carrying out of the judgment. That's called, right, doing mishpat with this person. If it's the punishment of death, it's the punishment of whatever. And also it can be also to clarify things. It makes everything clear. Mishpat. It's made with the same 5 different things. What do we say? Gold. It has to be made with the same gold, and these 3 types of wool, 3 colors of wool, and linen that's woven. 5 fine linen. It has to be square, doubled over. Zeret arko v'zeret rachbo. What is there? It has to be doubled over. That mutalo b'panav keneged libo says that it should be folded over on the facing on the heart of Aaron, and it should be hanging down from the Efod, we said, that comes behind him, and it comes down a little bit. The Choshen talui sharshirot, and there has to be these chains that is hung by. Okay, let's have a little picture of this, just so that we don't get too far removed from reality here. Here. Here, see, here's the Choshen Mishpat. Here it is, and it's hanging by these chains. Do we have a nice picture? I found the picture before, but this thing, you see, it's supposed to be chains. See, all the pictures are have a certain element of the imagination of the art. What do you call it? Poetic license or something? Here, it's supposed to have these chains here. Oh, something like this, but it's not this way. On the shoulders are these avnei shoham, right? These stones that the names of the different tribes are written on. On the breastplate here, we're going to see there's also the names of the tribes are written on just in the order that they are: Reuven, Shimon, Levi, etc. That's the order that they are. And then we have these chains that attach from the stones down here, even though it wasn't really double chains like this, more like this. And then there was a little lock over here, like a little sort of a belt, like the buckle of a belt was over here, so that it would go through and it would hold on. Then there were straps here, chains that were here, and here to hold it against his chest so that it wouldn't flap around. That's what that's what we're talking about, the breastplate. Wasn't good with that. Good plate. Here it says, I don't know, should we try to look for this here? Oh, maybe this is not bad. Here are the stones. Here we see it says Reuven, Shimon. Now, really, it didn't say Reuven over here. Really, it had more written on it. It was written over here. Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov were also written here. Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov were over hidden. And over here on the last one was written Shivtei Yud Hey. And this one was written Shivtei Yud Hey. And here was written Avram, Yitzchak, Yaakov. Now, what exactly these stones are, I don't think that anybody knows today what the stones are. Even so, there's some names that are, used for stones today, but I don't think it's the same thing. Yes. The further we go down, the more we enter into the world of fantasy and the less the world of realities. Here we go. We can sort of see. Nah, you can't really see. Okay, these are the chains that they were attached to all the sides. Good. Let us go back to the text. Evan, they should put in the breastplate. There has to be these golden settings, and you have to put stones there. 4 lines of stones. The top line is Odem, Pita, Ubereket. Right, let's say for our purposes, this is a ruby and a Pita, whatever Pita is, and a Bereket, and a, I don't know, onyx or something. I've seen places where they do use these different names. It says each one of these 3 stones, precious stones, because there can't be. Oh, I'm sorry. This is the Kli Yakar. I thought we were going to do Rashi. Anyway, it says these stones were shining like the heavens, and the reason there was 3 because each one was a judge. They judged, so there can't be a judicial court less than 3. It says that these there's a book called the Akeda. He writes that some of these stones were very precious, some of them were very, very inexpensive, to show that a judge should be equal, whether it's a big multi-million-dollar case or it's a case of just $2 or $3. Nevertheless, a judge should judge them all equally. And also, because this is called the what is it? The plate of judgment, it's called. Also, now you have to remember this whole thing of the judge. I mean, what does that have to do with judgment? The whole essence of a Jewish judge is supposed to be that he's God-fearing, that he wants to do what God wants. That's his main interest, is his connection to God. And because God wants all these judgments that are done in simple monetary cases, the most mundane things, that they should be according to his will, because where does the money come from? Where do these people come? It comes from God. So the judges are supposed to be the ones, but they need a special blessing, a special inspiration. Like we learned in the morning Chassidut class, that the inspiration to the Jewish people to do the commandments in happiness comes from Aaron, the Kohen, the high priest, and these garments of the high priest. So all of the names of the tribes are written there in the order of their birth, to show that whether an older person like Shimon, who he's the one of the first of the tribes, should be treated exactly like the smallest of them in years, like Benjamin. But except for that, everyone is equal. And there's also a hint that the judge, Shaloit Naseh, a judge should not try to make himself haughty, to say that I'm the king over here. Because it says that a person that is egotistical, a judge, that he lords it over the litigants, he's called a shote rasha v'gas ruach. It's in Pirkei Avot. He's called a fool, a sinner, and a selfish person. That's what it says in Psalms. Derech anavim b'mishpat. Only a humble person can really be a proper judge. And the reason is, like we learned in Parshas Mishpatim, and that's what it says, that because Aaron had a pure heart, so therefore this Choshen Mishpat was put on his heart. Because in the merit of his humility, he was not jealous of Moses. Now, Moses was younger than Aaron was. And Aaron was also a very, very holy person. Usually a person that sees that someone who is in any way inferior to him, in this case, Moses was inferior to Aaron in age, he was younger. So usually there's a little bit of jealousy. And Aaron was totally not jealous whatsoever. So therefore he merited to this Choshen Mishpat. He merited to this judgment plate. So a Torah in the second row was called Nofech Sapir. Sapir is usually a sapphire, but Yahalom, and a diamond. But like I say, these names of these stones are not necessarily the same names that we use now. Could be, yes, could be. A Torah Shlishi, the third, is Leshem, Shvo, V'Achalama. The fourth row was Tarshish, Shoham, V'Yashve. And all of them were inlaid. They were put into a framework of gold, and it was filled up. That's how they look. These stones should be on the names of the Jewish people, 12 on each one on the name. Pituchei chotam, each al shemot tiyena l'shnei asar shevet. Each one should have his name on the stone. Odin Pitma, says the order that they were born, just like it is on the Shoham. And you should make on the Shoshem Sharshot Gablut Maseh Avot Zav Torah. You should put on this breastplate, there should be chains, woven chains of gold, in order to hold this at the bottom of it to his, so that it should be always on his chest. It shouldn't flap. It should put on the Sharshots 2 golden rings, and you should put these rings on the bottom ends of the Choshen. right? That they should be held firmly. And then you should put these two chains into these two rings that I put on the Choshen. These two ends you should put on the two chains, and you should put on the Efod opposite his face. So he's saying there should be two on the bottom and two on the top. He says two, one on each side on the top and one on each side on the bottom. That's what he said. Here's the two on the bottom, so that they should be held firmly, so that this breastplate should be held firmly to the person. On the bottom. Oh, these are the ones on the bottom, opposite his face, and join them. Okay, so all together, what do we have? We have this breastplate. It has in it, it's folded, but when it's put on when he wears it, it's folded over, so it seems like one, right? It seems like it's just one unit. It's square. When it's opened up, which it's never opened up when he wears it, then it's a rectangle. And there's a rectangle. And you put between those two folds, you're going to see is this name of God. And it's held to his chest with these rings, which are in each of the corners, and these chains. So let's have a little picture. If we can get back to this picture over here. You know, the pictures have not been that. See, you can sort of see what's going on over here. Let's find a better picture over here. Can we find a better picture? We had this one. Can you see this? I don't know. These things are sort of disappointing. Well, anyway, this is the way it's supposed to look. Can you see this? Here, there's ring here, a ring here, a ring here, a ring here. Then there's a chain that goes there, a chain that goes here. This chain then attaches to the apron. The apron should be a little bit longer, but except for that, this is a good picture. The apron should be longer, goes down here, and the apron has straps on it. These are the two straps that go around. See here, we can see there's a back picture of it. Goes around the back of the apron. This is the Efod, and these are the two straps on the corner. The two straps on the corner, there's also two stones, and on these two stones are engraved the 12 tribes, the names of the 12 tribes. And on here is also names of the 12 tribes. Right, 1, 2, 3, there. And the chains hold it so that it should be against his heart all the time. Good? Yes. And there's other things also. There's Pamon, you'll see that. And then the Tzitz, we didn't talk about that either, but we'll try to get to that. Let's see. Oh, no. You should join Yarkaso. You should join this Choshen that we just talked about with the rings to the rings of the Efod, of the apron. And that should be attached with a string of wool, tchelet. And that it should be on the Efod, and it should not move the Efod, the Choshen from on the Efod. Shouldn't move. And Aaron should take these names. Let me just go back to the. Yes. Aaron should take these names of the Jewish people, the Choshen Mishpat, on his heart when he went into the Kodesh, not the Kodesh Kadoshim, into the Kodesh, to be a remembrance in front of God constantly. Here he says, the Sifrono, that he should remember God, and he should ask God for peace in the merit of these Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, and the others. Right? Previously, we said that no, that God should see the merit of the forefathers, that God should see it. But here he says that the Kohen, the high priest, should see, and that he should request to God for their merit. Now, these garments, they lasted for, 900 years about, right? 900 years. In fact, exactly 900 years. There was 410 years for the first temple, and then there was 70 years in between. and then there was 420 years for the second temple. So that's 430 and 70, 900 years altogether. That's how long it lasted. But this did not last. This, the Noten el Choshen Mishpat at the Urim v'Tumim. You had to put in the Choshen Mishpat, into between these two folds, you put this Urim and Tumim. What was the Urim and the Tumim? Rashi says the Urim and the Tumim, this was a name written, a God's name, which was written on a parchment, and it put it between the folds of the Choshen. And by means of this, the stones would shine up and would answer questions. In the second temple, says Rashi, there was the Choshen, the garment was there, because it's impossible that the Kohen can not have these garments. But that name of God wasn't there. And because of that name of God, that's why it's called Choshen Mishpat. Like it says, therefore in the second temple, it was really not called the Choshen Mishpat, it would only be called the Choshen. Like it says, Al Mishpat Urim Batumim, at the Mishpat Bnei Yisrael, and he would judge the Jewish people, Davar Shem Nishpatim V'Nochachim Al Yado. That by means of this name of God, it would make judgments for the Jewish people. It had to be things that were relevant. The questions had to be relevant to all the Jewish people, if to do something or not to do it. According to the Midrash, it says the Choshen would bring sins of Mishpat. We talked about that before. Rashi said that before. And it would bring forgiveness for the sins. The word, the Baal HaTurim says Urim v'Tumim is the same gematria. If you take the letters and add them up, it comes to the same gematria as the word Or Yisrael, the light of the Jewish people. Urim et Tumim, et Urim v'Tumim, this is the gematria. This is the same of Shem, Cain, Shivim, Vishtayim, the name of 72 letters. That's the name of God. Interestingly, I think it's in the Harvard University. I think it is. It says it's written. What is it? How is it written in English? I think it's written in English. And
it is in Yale.
English. It's written or I don't remember what it is. Or Reem. I don't remember. I have to look and see. Anyway, somehow or other it's written over there on the coat of arms of this university, to show that you have to have a true mishpat. But yeah, I can't. Okay, I'll have to look it up and see what it is. Remember, or Tom, or Reem, or to Mim. I don't know. Okay. Anyway, that's written over there. Okay, so we have learned about this garment. Let us just see one thing. It says, so on the this coat, the ephod that he had, the ephod. So he said you had to make this ephod. We just talked about it, and there had to be on the bottom of it rimunei techelet pargaman, like little how do you say, ornaments that looked like pomegranates, but they were made from leather, from wool, colored. There's different colors, techelet and argamana tolat sheni on the bed, and there also should be golden bells when they were there. A palmon zahav rimon, palmon zahav rimon. There should be a little bells from gold, and then there would be ones of this wool, and it would be on Aaron, and it should make a noise when he went into the holy one and went to the tent of meeting in front of God, and also so that he shouldn't die. What does it mean he shouldn't die? These were ornaments that he had to be there, and if he wasn't there, if these bells weren't there, then he would die, right? He would die from heaven. The last one we'll go to, and we'll have to do this quickly, is the Tzitz. The Tzitz Zahav. It was a plate of gold. Here it says, Kamin Tas, it was a plate of gold, It was wide at 2 fingers, and it was put, 2 fingers really means like this, 2 fingers, and it was put on his forehead from ear to ear. And he would put on it a string of techelet, a string of wool dyed blue, and it would be on the mitznefet, on the turban that was on his head, opposite, and it should be on the forehead of Aaron, and Aaron therefore should bear the sins of all of the holy things, any mistakes that occurred in holiness, and this we're going to have to do tomorrow. That this says it brought forgiveness constantly, should be on his forehead constantly to make God pleased. It says Rashi, just let's do this shortly. We can't say that it's always on his forehead, because it's only on the time when he serves in the temple, and the temple service was only in the daytime. But it was, what does it mean? It means whenever he had it on, it would always please God, even when it's not on his forehead. If it's not on his forehead, that the Kohen Gadol was not working at that time. Nevertheless, the times that he did have it on, that would bring forgiveness for all the rest of the day, even just the fact that it is there. There's one opinion, though, that says no, that's not what it means. It means that all the time that he has it on, it brings forgiveness. So what do we learn from this? That he has to constantly touch it to remind himself that it's there. And there's opinions, by the way, with tefillin also, that you should also touch Jews when they put on the head tefillin. You should try to touch it to remind yourself of the holiness of it all the time. So let's just do Orach Chaim very quickly. We have to understand, what does it mean that this plate should be on his forehead all the time? It says, L'ratzos lahem lifnei Hashem. Let's see what the word says. Should see. It says, L'ratzon, that it should be for will, for them, before God. What does it mean, will? What do these mean? That it should be a will in front of God. Says the Orach Chaim, Rabbi Chaim Ben Attar. Maybe we can say that the intention is that it should be Kodesh, refers to the Jewish people, and Li Hashem, that it should be, the Jewish people should be pleasing in front of God. Cheshukim v'davukim meshubadim. And also it should bring to the Jewish people a desire to be attached to God. Therefore it says, L'ratzon, sheyesh lo ratzon b'Yisrael, that this plate on the forehead should put inside of the Jewish people a ratzon to serve God. And this is the secret of Ani L'Dodi, I am to my beloved, in the Song of Songs. And by means of this, God will love us also. So let's just have take a look at this picture of what this thing looks like again. I hope you find it easily. Here, see, it's supposed to be here. Do we have a nice picture of it? Here, see, it says Kodesh Lashem. I don't think, though, that there's different opinions about how the words were put, because it doesn't say clearly over here how the words are. Usually the way it says is Kodesh and then Li Hashem, to God. Sometimes it says Kodesh and then Lamed Li, and then Hashem is written big. In any case, but it was not spiked like this. Do we have a picture? Yeah. See, here we have a picture. Not accurate. Anyway, it's supposed to be, this is on his forehead. It wasn't this big. There was strings of blue colored wool that held it around the back of his head, and also here to the top. And we got to get a better picture than that. Come on, we deserve a better picture than this. And there was a space, like I said before, between this and the turban that he wore, this mitznefes that he wore, and for him to put his tefillin there. What is this? Maybe this. Anyway, yeah, there was also a string here, as well as a string around the back, the string, but there was a place there to put his tefillin. So the string, therefore, is this a good picture? No. Where are the pictures? All right, I guess we're not going to find a picture here today for some reason. Oh, here. This is not bad. Here we go. Why is it moving around like this here? See, it had strings that went here, and there was a string around the back, and this was a place for the tefillin. And on this, it would say, Kodesh li Hashem. Good picture. And here, these are the Avnei Shoham. These are these two stones with 6 names are written here, 6 names are written here. And these are the stones on the breastplate, the 12 stones, with the name of each one of the tribes written. Here is also written Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, and here is written Shivtei, Yudtei. It's written over here on this. This is actually a pretty accurate picture. This is what we learned today. All right, good, wonderful. Have a good day with Mashiach now. See you tomorrow at 8:15 in the morning.